What is up, everyone? Mars here. Let's get right into the news. We finally got the reveal for the next expansion for Destiny 2, and it looks cool. I mean, they didn't really show much. They barely showed anything, to be honest. Lore-wise, it seems interesting, especially with its introduction of characters like Anastasia Bray, who has been a character that's closely related to Clovis Bray. I actually think that's his daughter, which he has deep ties to the Golden Age and also Rasputin. I also find her name very interesting and some of the specifics around her to be interesting, but I'll talk about that later. It also looks like the main enemy we're going to be facing is, once again, the Hive. Okay, fine. They've already reskinned them for the 20th time now. What's one more time? And the big baddie of this one is actually going to be a worm god, Zul. We aren't actually dealing with a vessel this time around like we did with Oryx. We're actually dealing with the worm god itself. You can actually get an idea of how big this thing is by the shadow that's formed around Anna near the end of the trailer, and it looks pretty big. Now, probably one of the most interesting new additions from the content that was revealed is the new Escalation Protocol, which is this new wave-based activity that is basically designed as challenging endgame activity. In it, you'll take on waves of enemies, with each wave having its own boss, and with a final boss in the last wave that if you beat him, then you are awarded new kinds of weapons and gear. Though only players who have completed the single-player campaign can access this event unless they're actually tagging with somebody who has already completed it. There is also a new raid layer called the Spire of Stars, but at this point, nothing more has been revealed. Also, they are bringing an emote wheel and increasing vault space, which, great. And they also spent quite a large time on exotic weapons and some of the changes that are coming from them. Honestly, I don't care about this in the slightest. It was actually pretty annoying. I came here to hear details about the new DLC and what it's going to be bringing to the table to kick life back into this game. I didn't come here to hear the patch notes for the roadmap you idiots put in place 3 months ago because you couldn't get your shit together in the first place. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I'm getting a little bitter here. It's just this game has still left a foul taste in my mouth. And moving on to another pointless topic, if you mostly play Destiny for the PvE experience, then this is going to be absolutely nothing to you. They're finally bringing in Crucible rankings. For those of you who don't remember what this is, or for this being the first time that you're hearing about it, basically there's 2 ranks. There's Valor rank, which is a rank that you progress through the Crucible, which you can't lose progression from it. You can only gain it by wins. And then there's Glory rank, which is kind of like the opposite, where progression is based off of wins and losses. You gain progression as you win, you lose progression as you lose, so forth, so on. Literally, both of these are completely pointless unless you're hardcore into Crucible. Now, this might not be, this probably means nothing to players that mostly play PvE, but what might be annoying to some longtime players is the fact that they're changing the way that Crucible rewards work. Where instead of it was pretty much randomized at the end of the match, it now seems like it's going to be more focused on ranks and completing specific objectives. And so there goes any sort of grinding in the Crucible to meet light levels, which, also is getting increased and will also apparently take quite a while to hit max light level. So that's just great. I don't know, guys. They spent an entire hour revealing almost no new content for this DLC except for one activity, which is a basic horde mode, and they spent the rest of the time going over stuff that was talked about on the roadmap. This horde mode looks interesting and stuff, but I guarantee you that after a number of hours, it's going to become boring. I can almost guarantee you, too, that players are most likely going to be forced to grind this thing in order to try and hit a high enough light level in order to take part in the raid. Where's the rest of the content for this expansion? How is it that we go from Destiny 1, where they released a 2-minute trailer video revealing a bunch of content, including strikes, including some of the atmosphere, the environments, to now, where they have an hour-long presentation and they barely reveal anything? And it's like I had the exact same criticism of when they were promoting Destiny 2 before it launched. They kept pushing out the introduction scene, and they kept trying to paint it off as something new. And then when they finally released the demo, and it was just the introduction scene yet again, I'm like, okay, is this all they have to show for their game? And at the time, my friends were like, oh no, they just want to keep the other stuff under wraps. They want to keep it secret. They want to keep the end game, private, and I'm like, okay, fine, I'll buy into that because of Destiny 1 and how well that got paved out, especially with the Taken King and Rise of Iron. That did not turn out to be the truth. It turned out that Destiny 2 was a complete flop in terms of endgame content. Okay, so color me paranoid, but I am concerned at the confidence that Bungie has in this expansion. I mean, I'm even more concerned with how lackluster the last expansion was, and I don't know, guys. I don't know. Show me what your expansion has in store for us. Do not stand around for an hour-long reveal dedicating 3/4 of it to roadmap changes that nobody cares about. Well, nobody that plays PvE cares about. Save that for another time. What I care about is this expansion. Is this expansion going to bring me back to the game, or is it going to be another waste of time and money? The reason I'm so critical of this game, the reason that I throw down in this game so much, is because I love this franchise. Destiny 1 definitely had its bumps, but eventually it paved its own way, and it became one of the best games to just sit back and play with my friends. It's one of the reasons why I collect so much time into it. It's one of the reasons that I have almost all of the Iron Banner gear for my Hunter, is because I loved going through and grinding that stuff out. That passion isn't there anymore. But with all of that being said, there is one thing I can think of that might be a saving point for this game. You know what? No, there's actually two I can think of. One is the fact that they could just drop a reveal trailer within the next 2 weeks, and that pretty much answers all of my concerns. And the others is the story. So I said that there was something interesting about the name Anastasia, and the reason that it's interesting to me is because I'm fairly certain that it's referring to the Russian Grand Duchess Anastasia Nikolaevna and the legend around her. Basically, she was the youngest daughter of the Tsar Nicholas II, who was supposedly killed alongside her family by the Bolsheviks, secret police, back in 1918. Though when the graves of the family were discovered in 1991, there was only 3 of the 4 daughters buried with the rest of the family. Some of you might actually know this legend from the 20th Century Fox movie Anastasia that came out in 1997, which is loosely, and I say loosely in a loose way, based off the legend. And I wanted to focus on that because there are some interesting similarities between that movie and what we're seeing here. For one, and it's not just a name. For one, the character Anastasia escapes in the movie, the character Anastasia escapes the murder plot, but suffers a head injury in her escape, which leads to her suffering from amnesia. Now, going by her name, Anya, she now hopes to finding traces of her family. Here's the kicker, though. She's being hunted by Rasputin. We know that Anastasia Bray is, or was at one point, looking for traces of her family. She's actually been redacting a lot of information around her family. We know that she's a guardian, whether human or a much more human-like exo with those weird eyes that are actually pretty awesome. But whether she's human or exo is still pretty much in the air at this point. So, at some point, she must have been awoken as a guardian and had no memory of her past life. And she must have had some sort of inkling to go looking for that truth. So the question is, are we going to go to war with the Warmind? Because she doesn't sound very fond of Rasputin. We know that Rasputin was possibly tainted by the darkness at one point during the collapse of the Golden Age, and theory does have it that this might have caused Rasputin to fear the Traveler's departure from Earth and dooming the human race to the darkness. So in theory, to prevent that from happening, Rasputin might have opened fire on the Traveler, causing the massive damage in the first place, and then putting it into comatose state. Now, like I said, that is just complete theory at this point, but I cannot deny there are some similarities between the two of them. Now, it could be complete bullshit, but it is something worth looking into. Either way around, if you guys are interested in checking out either the trailer, the cinematic trailer, or the reveal, I'll leave both of them down below in the links. Yeah, man, I really hope Niana's right about this shit, though. I really hope this stuff is good, because I want to get back into this game. Either way around, let's move on. Deep Purple and Judas Priest has announced they are heading on a new tour that kicks off in late August and runs into the end of September. That actually sounds like a pretty awesome tour, to be honest with you. Pretty interesting lineup. A Perfect Circle has announced that they will also be heading on a new tour. This one kicks off in October and runs into December. Check out the dates below. We got a new music video from Parkway Drive with their new song, Pray. Galactic Empire dropped their new song, Ray's Theme, off their upcoming album, Episode 2. Andrew WK released a new music video for their song Music is Worth Living For. The Fever 333 has released an acoustic rendition of their song Walking in My Shoes. Touche Amore has dropped a new song called Green. And Amorphis has released their new song via music video called Wrong Direction. You can check out all of those down below in the description. Now time for some things that are awesome. We got a new trailer for Sony's new Venom movie with Tom Hardy, and it gives us our first look at Venom. And I gotta give it props. They make Venom look like an actual monster. Like, he looks pretty good in this one. Now, story-wise, though, I'm not really sure yet. They really haven't given a whole lot of plot details yet. But I am interested in it because it says it's in association with Marvel. Which makes me think that there might be a possibility to tie this into the Marvel Cinematic Universe if the movie works out well. If you guys want to check out the trailer, it, of course, will be down below. And the next thing on our list is, of course, the gameplay that you guys are currently watching right now from the game God of War. This game has been an absolute blast to play, as anyone who has come to the live streams that we've been hosting have noticed. Now, for a God of War game, there are definitely some changes that might come to a surprise to vet players for the series. For one, this game is much less reliant on the combo, beat-em-up, button masher style that we've seen in the first three God of Wars, and instead focuses players more on this tactical combat and environmental awareness. And don't get me wrong, there was environmental awareness in the first God of War, in the other God of Wars in the franchise, but it was nowhere near as narrow as this one. And don't get me wrong, you definitely have your vicious attack combos that can be devastating to the enemies in this game, but in this game, players will need to learn that they absolutely need to focus heavily on their defenses as well. Because the enemies in this game, especially in the hard modes, will smack you around like your Swiss cheese. It's definitely led to some frustration and rage moments on the live streams, especially with some of the harder enemies that have one-shot kills. But the game and the worlds in it are just beautiful. They are amazing. And they do something that I and many others have had issues with the previous God of War games, and that is a bit of a problem with repetitive sceneries. And it's just a great game with awesome characters, and to be honest, seeing the once brutal and vicious Kratos in a new chapter of his life, one where he's grown older and more restricted in his violent ways, and just seeing him going on this journey with his son, it's just awesome. It's just an awesome game right now. I definitely can't wait to get further into it. I still feel like I'm just getting to the starts of the story. Like, I don't even feel like I'm in the middle act of it yet. I don't know. It's just a great game. And if you guys do want to join us on a live stream, I will be live streaming my entire playthrough of this game. So, of course, if you guys want to join us on there, I'll leave a link for the Twitch. I'm not going to stream tonight because it's already a little bit too late. But I'm probably going to be streaming tomorrow. And, if you guys want to join us, that would be awesome. Either way around, thank you all for joining me for this episode. Leave a like if you guys enjoyed it. Dislike if you didn't. Subscribe if you want more. And as always, I will see you on the next one. Mars out.